You know, not that I'm saying this movie is bad or anything, but I think the animated series ruined this franchise for me.
It's laser time and we're gonna do a review. Yes, we're gonna review. Talk about movies and comics too. Let's all go watch the review.
Hello everyone, how's it going? I am Laser Dude, and welcome to another Laser Dude review. This time it's How to Train Your Dragon 3, The Hidden World. So this movie in the franchise, we find Hiccup a little older, trying to get into getting into swing of things of being the chief of the village of Burke, and he comes across this man who is the Night Fury Hunter, the one who's been killing them all, and apparently he wants the last one, which is Toothless. Well, at least the last male one, because there is a female Night Fury as well that Toothless finds and becomes entranced by and wants to, of course, do the deed with. But anyway, so the movie involves Hiccup versus this dragon hunter while Toothless is finding love. So the first thing I want to say about this movie, I just want to explain the beginning of this review, the way I started this, because here's the thing. I never got to review How to Train Your Dragon 2. It made my top 10 list that year, but I was off doing a review series called Arkham Week, and that took so much time and energy that I didn't have a chance to get to review How to Train Your Dragon 2. So here's the thing that I have wanted to say about this movie. Let me just say, the animation is great. I love the mother. Every scene with her and Stoic is amazing. I love the way they handled the death in the movie. I love the way that's all handled. I love the way Hiccup has to deal with that. It doesn't make sense if you've watched the show. The whole TV show has Hiccup going against other villains and other bad guys and everything, and it doesn't make sense. The whole motivation is like, well, I'll just show these guys that, I'll just show this bad guy that, dragons don't have to be used as monsters. They can be friends. And that doesn't make sense if Hiccup has already come across people who he's fought with and had to, deadly battles with, and it's just like, why would he think that this guy, all of a sudden, could be turned to the good side? Now, honestly, I think the show almost recognized this mistake and tried to flip it around because they kept on turning bad guys to good. Like the villain of the first season of the show becomes a good guy, then this villain of the next season of the show becomes a good guy. A couple of villains turn it around, and so you can maybe argue that he thinks that. But there's also a big betrayal of a character in that show, and then you're like, well, if he could be betrayed as well as bad guys turning on him, I don't think he'd be that easily trusting. And there was this whole thing with Ruffnut being liked by both Fishlegs and Snotlout, when clearly Fishlegs liked Heather. But anyway, I bring that up because in terms of this movie, it has a lot of the same things for me. It makes sense within its own movie format, How to Train Your Dragon 1, How to Train Your Dragon 2, How to Train Your Dragon 3. But in terms of with all the other stuff I've seen, it doesn't make any sense. Before I get into that, I'll go into that more into the spoiler part of this review, but the whole movie is, Hiccup trying to find this place called the Hidden World where all dragons originate from. And so, he's trying to track this place down while this other guy is hunting the Night Fury. And I will say that I like this guy, this villain. I love, they made him diabolical with, the amount of screen time that he's given. I like how diabolical they made him. He's like, oh, he's always one step ahead, but then they show, oh, he is one step ahead by doing this and this. And I'm like, okay, well, I get why, he's a threat, there's always times where someone says, I am a threat, and then they don't do anything threatening throughout a whole movie, and then you're like, I don't feel it. Here, I felt it with the character. I felt it with the thing. Oh, man, I really want to go into the spoiler part of this thing. I just want to do a spoiler review, so I'm just going to... Okay, let me just go quick fire thing of all the positives in this film. The animation, incredible. I love the dragon scale outfits that our heroes have. They're so cool. Some of the coolest I've ever seen. I would wear that. And I'm not even a cosplayer. And I like the way that the characters are voiced. I like the way that they give the side characters some actual little stuff to do, more than they've had to in the other films. Makes them fun. I love the little touches that they add to the original, little nods, little stuff like that. This new Night Fury called Light Fury, I like the characterization they give him. I like how they handle Toothless. You know, how Toothless is handled in the ways that he interacts with it. It's funny. That's probably the only things that are really funny in this film. There's a lot of good chuckles, especially out of, Rough Nut and Tough Nut. Those two always get good laughs, and I'm glad that their laughs are utilized in this film more than they were in the last film. I like how they have this sort of overarching thing with like they have a slight connection to the villain in the second film. I like that. Okay, and I really like how they handled Hiccup and Astrid's relationship. That still is one of my favorite things about this whole franchise, is their relationship and how it grows and blossoms. And the ending of this film, while I do have some problems with it, it does wrap up in a way that I mostly like. I'll get to that in the spoiler part of this review. For any negatives, villain, while I like his presence and the way they handle him, he's a little bit rushed. There's a lot of things cramming in here that I'm not sure if the movie has fully time to develop them all. The Hidden World looks amazing. I'll say that for another positive. That's basically all you need to know. The movie, if you like the first two Dragons movies, you're going to like this one. I say it's probably my least favorite out of all three. I think the second one had the bigger moments, and the first one was a more cohesive whole. This one probably has the best villain out of the three, just because, like the first one was just evil dragon. The second one, it was entertaining, but a little brutish for my This guy had a little bit more of a sophistication to him. I bought his intelligence more. The other one looked like a caveman and kind of acted like a caveman, so I'm like, how do you have control over all this? I don't get it. But yeah, that's my basic quick thoughts on the movie and the franchise as a whole. Now, wait, where's my laser gun? So I'm going to give How to Train Your Dragon 3, The Hidden World, a 7 out of 10. It's a good movie. I think that I like the other two more. And that's mostly because of stuff that I want to get into in this. And a lot of it has to do with the ending. And while I say it ends nice, it doesn't end on how I would like it. But let's get into it. If this is a spoiler part of the review. If you haven't seen this film and you want to see it, this is my warning for you. Go check it out and then come back into this part. So here's the thing. I hate it when movies or things of fantasy try to end by fitting into our world. Okay? I hate it. Because be your own world. Just because you're Vikings doesn't mean you're our Vikings. I didn't see any pillaging going on, and I saw spikes on your helmets. Those weren't around in actual Viking times. That's an invention of Hollywood. And it ends in a way where Hiccup says goodbye to the dragons, and they all fly away, and they all go away to the hidden world, and I'm like, why would he do this? There has been no indication from any of the dragons that they dislike being with their human counterparts. There's been no indication of them longing to go to the hidden world or anything. There's been nothing like that throughout the entire series of movies and all the TV show. There was such a strong bond. It's like, I don't know. I really didn't like how they're like, when humanity's ready to accept dragons, we'll come back. Well, guess what? All dragons are dead. Yep. All dragons died. Oh, why do I know that? Oh, well, very simple. You're trying to fit into our world, right? Well, by this point in history, we've had explorers that basically have explored every single crevice and every single corner of the world. Dragons would have been found by now. Yep, so they all went into the hidden world, maybe an earthquake happened and collapsed it all onto us. All the dragons are dead. This is what happens when you try to put your fantasy world and end it in a way it's like, oh, now it makes sense with our world. You don't need to make sense with our world. Okay? It's like the same with that show Merlin. I mean, it ended in a way it's like, oh, King Arthur, welcome back. It's like, well, there's Merlin walking down the street. I'm like, why? Why would you do that? You didn't need to be our world. Here is the biggest reason why I don't like this. Hiccup was an expert on dragons. Okay? Now, you can say that, you know, it's like, the whole point of the movie is like, you're nothing without your dragon. He's like, no, he's more. Okay, I get that. But this is like taking away all hockey pucks from Wayne Gretzky and saying you can still be great. It's not the same. You know, the guy knew everything about dragons. That's what he was all about. And to just take away all dragons, I mean, I'm sure he'd be an okay chief without dragons, but with dragons, he would be incredible. And it's not like doing this, it's not like they had all the other dragons in the world anyways. There's still going to be dragons that need protecting out there from other hunters, just because, what, you're going to be like, well, only ones we're protecting are the ones on the hidden world now. It doesn't stop the other dragons that are out there, all the timberjacks, all the flippin' Skuldrins, all the flippin' other dragons that are out there that we've seen in the show that have nesting grounds in the outside world. All of those did not live in Berk. There was a lot of dragons, but they did not all live in Berk. Okay? Changewings weren't live in Berk. They have Changewing Island. Okay? It doesn't make sense. Okay? Gosh, I hate that. I'm like, and look, the ending, they ended with him is like, he goes back and he sees Toothless, and Toothless sees Hiccup, and they have a nice moment, and he flies. I like those moments. I like to see Hiccup marrying Astrid. That was great. I love that. I love that. I love to see that he took his 2 kids with him to see the dragons. And I even love that they had the boy and girl had different hair colors than their parents. They swapped the hair color. I love that. All that. I was digging all of that. I just didn't buy the reason. And okay, here's the thing. They left Berk like first thing, and I'm just like, why would Hiccup do that? They faced worse things than this. This guy just blew up a few buildings and walked away. There was no reason for him to leave Berk. There was literally no reason, especially without a plan. If his whole thing was to find the hidden world, then if that was his whole plan, then he should have found it first before moving Berk. It's adoy. I mean, you don't just pack up everyone and go that direction and hope you find something. And I actually thought that the movie was going to actually be a little bit more self-aware, because they had stuff where it's like he has to build Toothless the back fin to the back tail so he could fly again. And Astrid says, didn't you make him that once before and he didn't want it? I'm like, hey, that was on a short. That was on one of the Dragon shorts. I guess it wasn't for the show. It was just, a short, but where Hiccup made that and Toothless didn't want it. And so they reference that. I'm like, hey, okay, you're going to at least keep all the old stuff in mind. That's great. And then the movie ends where Roughnut's like, okay, I choose you, Fish Legs. Fish Legs and Heather, okay? They liked each other. Snotlout and Roughnut, those are the ones that belong together. She has the wits to like drive him crazy, and Snotlout has the ego that I don't know. Those two I always thought worked together off of each other perfectly. For her to just throw the end and she's with Fish Legs. Didn't like that. And I don't know what's going on there with Snotlout and Hiccup's mother, but I do not like it. As I say, I think that the show, it doesn't make any sense if you've seen the show that Hiccup would just leave Berk so early, or like maybe he wouldn't think to, hey, let's move some people to the edge or stuff like that. There's other things that could have happened, and like, yeah, by just sending Toothless and all the other of their Berkian dragons to the hidden world, you're dooming all of the other dragons in the world to be pillaged and hunted and put in cages. I get what they were trying to do. That you need to let go. Okay, I want to say another positive of the movie. I loved all the Stoic flashbacks. That was the one thing that kind of sold me on the ending. When Stoic's like, it's great to love. It hurts sometimes, but it's great to love, and it's always great. And you should always try it. And I do like that. I like that scene a lot. But I don't see why either they wouldn't go to the hidden world or that they wouldn't keep their dragons. I don't know. I don't like that. I didn't like it. But I like the ending was very nice. And the flying scenes in this movie are still pretty good. This movie isn't necessarily as funny as I would like it to be, but the action scenes are good. I think it's just good, you know. The second one had a lot more of an emotional connection with Stoic and Val. And the first one had, as I say, it's a more of a cohesive thing. It's like all the pacing all works together. And I'm never asking, why would the character do this in that movie, where I'm asking that a lot in the next two movies. I can honestly say this. I think I prefer the Dragons TV show to the movies. At least the second two. I think I like, it has a little bit more of the adventurous element to it. They fleshed out all the side characters more. The movies have the better moments. Like if you pick out the individual moments, most of the stuff from the first one, the specific scenes in the second one with Val and Stoic are amazing, and just the animation, of course, is way better. But I think the TV show, I think, as a whole, I enjoy it more. You have more stuff going, and it's probably I don't know, guys. This is a weird review that I'm giving this movie, because there's a lot of stuff that just bugged me. But as I'm saying, if I didn't watch the TV show, these probably wouldn't bug me. So that's all I got to say about this film. Warts and all, I like the movie. I'm not a fan of how it ended, but it ended nice enough, I guess. You know, and it was an emotional moment. It wasn't an emotional moment that I was with, because I was saying in my mind, why are you doing this? There's no reason to be doing this. Stop this. This is stupid. And so I wasn't there with the characters as well as I should have been. But maybe that's just me. That just might be me. I want to hear what you guys think. Put your comments in below. See if I'm overreacting or if I'm just way out to lunch. Maybe I am. I don't know. But yeah, that's how I felt about the Hidden World. So yeah, thanks for watching, everybody. I'm Lazy. See you around. Be sure to check out some of these other videos on my channel. And wait for more coming soon.